Good Labor Day morning, ladies and gentlemen. Let's see if we get a little adjustment going on here. Okay, how are you? Hey, Camille and Haley, Make America Great Again. Link is on the website, ladies and gentlemen. These two young ladies here, they honored me by allowing me to put their video on the website. It is great. If you're a patriot, I suggest you go check these girls out. They talk about your God-given right, and there will never be another USA. I don't know if you can see this slide, ladies and gentlemen. I hope your Labor Day weekend is going great. I don't know if you can hear in the background, the crickets are still chirping. 6:45 a.m. Central Standard Time. I know I'm a day late. I've been waiting for some information to come in. But right here, man, you have a sitting senator, somebody who attempted to run for president of the United States, didn't get the nomination. But if you can't read that, I'm gonna read what this says here. A sitting United States senator photographed with someone, by the way, that's Linda Sarsour, who advocates Sharia law. Yeah, that Sharia law, for those of you who don't understand Sharia law, if somebody sexually assaults your sister, they beat your sister to death because she shames the family. That's a twisted mindset. Excuse the hell out of me, but I just don't understand it. But they also believe in child marriage. We'll get to that in just a minute here. But a sitting United States senator photographed with someone who called for violence against the President of the United States of America. Silence from the mainstream media. Let that sink in for a minute. I'm going to enjoy my Sumatra mandolin for just a second. Ah, yes. Yes, indeed. Ladies and gentlemen, as I said, I hope your Labor Day weekend, this is the day we celebrate labor. Let me go back one more slide here. We missed that one. This was sent to me just the other day. This is what that Linda Sarsour girl believes in. That's about a 10-year-old, 8-year-old girl right there. That's that guy's wife. The world's silent on this. And this is what a certain political party wants to turn this United States into. Ilhan Omar married her brother, the incest girl. Why I set things up, I'll just put this on here. Little levity never hurts anything, does it, ladies and gentlemen? You know, the more I dig into stuff, and the more I look around, the more we become aware of what's really going on. We just had a CDC report say it's not as bad as we thought it was. Now the numbers are actually less than 10,000 people have actually passed away and died. Dying is not a good thing for anybody. Our hearts go out to anybody who has lost a member, to what I call certification of vaccination ID, COVID. But less than 10,000 people have died. That's the revised number from the CDC. And ladies and gentlemen, I urge you, I don't urge you, I beg you to listen to the links that are going to be in this description. They're in the description. Two of them are Robert F. Kennedy Jr. talking specifically about the CDC. Alexis, what is going on? If you followed me for a while, you know I'm an anti-GMO guy. And years ago I talked about Monsanto. And let me touch on GMO Tuesday for just a second. I will be approaching that. I'm going to kind of format that platform a little bit different. Kind of more along the line, if it's unnatural, it's ungodly, so to speak. But I've had a lot of requests, and I appreciate. It's really ironic. I actually made more money talking about the industry I hated the most, that was the property preservation industry, than I did talking about something I really enjoyed, the agriculture industry and the GMO issue. But if you remember correctly, I spoke about how Monsanto and et al. Chemical companies, ConAgra, China, there's a Chinese agriculture outfit too, and I'm drawing a blank on that name right now. But how they want to control the food supply. Why do they want to control the food supply? And I would always refer to you, think Hunger Games. What did they do in Hunger Games? They pitted families against each other for food. If you win, you get the food. Very easy to control people with food. Monsanto, now, this is blowing me away. We have the Genetic Literacy Project that has come out. I'm not sure exactly when this was put out a few years ago. The GMO lies, they've now started coming to light more and more and more and more and more. We realize that with any new and powerful technology, with unknown and some degree unknowable by definition effects, then there necessarily will be an appropriate level, at least, and maybe even more than that, of public debate and public interest. Bob Shapiro, 1998 is when that comment was stated. This was at the height when things started getting crazy. You have to remember, 1992, the Bush administration, part of the quote-unquote cabal, get your tinfoil out, we're going to talk crazy stuff here, but they let Monsanto unchecked into our food supply in 1992. His administration did, and then Hillary Clinton and her pedophile husband just kind of compounded it, and it just went on from there. Speaking of, I have a screenshot. I think it's towards the end, but the Genetic Literacy Project has put out this article today stating that glyphosate has been proven safe. And I don't know how they can continue to lie on Facebook, on Twitter, on all these social media platforms. And you'll see what I'm talking about here in just a minute with a couple of these slides I have, because they've taken groups down and stuff. This is a headline in the New York Times. This headline came after arrests were made on a sting operation. Now, for those of you who don't know what a sting operation is, they're very controversial, and I'll admit they set you up. You know, they do. They set you up for a crime. They set you up to commit a crime. This headline came after, but no victims. And what they're saying is, because the person on the other end of the line posed as a 14-year-old girl, and the 32-year-old man showed up to have sex with a 14-year-old girl that really wasn't a 14-year-old girl, there's no crime being committed. Let that sink in for just a minute, ladies and gentlemen. Let that sink in for just a minute. Because if it wasn't for that diligent crime unit, whatever you want to call them, if it wasn't for that police officer posing as a 14-year-old girl in a chat room where pedophiles hang out, it could have been your 14-year-old daughter that was going to see the 32-year-old man, or that the 32-year-old man was coming to see. Is that entrapment? You be the judge. You be the judge. I will say this in regards to sex offender laws. Many of them have been written well-intended, Many of them have been implemented very inanely, and that's all I'm going to say about that. It's a very controversial subject, but when it comes to protecting children, where do you draw the line? I got lucky. I had a dad that educated me. He taught me. It wasn't his fault I did stupid things. He did his best to educate me. And that brings us to this. Your group has been disabled. This is a Facebook notification. A.K. Browning's post. Daniel Sills. These people started a group on Facebook. Thank you to Sarah Serpa who sent this to me. But these people started a group on Facebook. Becca Dancer also has been helping me out over there on Facebook. But your group has been disabled. This is because End Child Trafficking Worldwide goes against our community standards on hate speech. Excuse the fuck out of me. Pardon my language, ladies and gentlemen. But how does that... I can't even wrap my head around that statement by Facebook and Mark Zuckerberg. Excuse me. How is that? End child trafficking worldwide now. How is that hate speech? Excuse me? I guess it is if you're a pedophile. Mr. Zuckerberg. Food for thought, ladies and gentlemen. I'm going to ask you again. Who is influencing your child today? What is your child doing, ladies and gentlemen? When I was a kid, we didn't have all this internet. We weren't able to go behind mommy and daddy's back and do all this stuff in chat rooms and get enticed to do things. We had questions. We talked to our dad. We had television. We had radio. We played music. We pulled weeds in the yard. We mowed lawns to make money. We didn't get everything given to us while we sat in the basement looking for a safe space, wondering which bathroom to go use when we went to school to be indoctrinated. Thanks for letting us know about this. This post was reviewed, though it doesn't go against any one of our specific community standards. You did the right thing by letting us know. We understand that it may still be offensive and distasteful to you. So we want to help you see less of things like it in the future. Think about that for just a minute. We're going to help you see less of what you find distasteful. We're not going to take child pedophile advertising down from our website. We're just going to make sure you don't see it anymore. We're going to set the algorithms so you don't see it anymore. Big news this week, ladies and gentlemen, is the censorship issues. People sent me the stuff to review on Facebook, and you know what? They're getting ready to put the screws to you to shape the narrative, and that's exactly what's going on. And if you don't think Big Pharma, the chemical companies, a political party, those affiliated with a political party are not trying to shape the narrative. They're already trying to say Donald Trump has cheated an election. The election hasn't even happened. Come on. Oh, that coffee's good. Jackson L. Skipper was advertising about, he wasn't advertising, he was discussing doing a child, like a 10-year-old, 11-year-old little girl or something. So thank you, Alexandra Brooke McCulley. She found out where this little jerk lived and put him on blast. There's all his phone numbers, his current address in Louisville, Kentucky, while he's looking for children. So if you're in Louisville, Kentucky, ladies and gentlemen, or that area, you might be on the lookout for Jackson L. Skipper, because Jackson is looking for children to play with, and not in a good way. I couldn't help but throw this in there. Little crying Chucky, Barack Obama, Harvey Weinstein, and I forget this guy, but you know what? Hey, I think the picture speaks for itself. Why this guy is, you know what? We got photographs of him kissing little 10-year-olds, mouth to mouth. I don't know what to say. Again, ladies and gentlemen, who's influencing your child today? I want you to stop and think for just a minute. What's going on here? I had to pull a picture out because it was really, really disturbing. I was going to put the slide in. Panda eyes, and we'll get to it again. Lady Gaga, of course, ties with Marina Abramovic, the Satanist, open, all that kind of stuff. But I want you, I'm going to read this. I don't know if you can actually read this, but I'll read it to you. Now for the real scoop. Panda eyes is a cute, and I know I went over this before in another, but this is very important, and I just think it needs to be gone over again. It's just that disturbing. You really need to pay attention to who your children are being influenced by. Now for the real scoop. Panda eyes is a cute, innocent way of deferring to dip yoga. Dip yoga is a pedophile slang for child sodomy. Please note that this is a slang term used among the pedo community, not an actual dictionary definition. Graphic detail warning for sensitive readers, sensitive listeners. When a child is forcibly sodomized, their eyes can welt into black circles due to the blunt trauma involved, making their eyes look like that of a panda. Because it is my desire to obey the command of Ephesians 5:11, which is not to participate in the untruthful deeds of darkness, but to instead expose them. That's what I'm doing here, ladies and gentlemen, exposing them. I know I'm not the only one. I know there's other people, other people out there. Paulie St. George, for example, Robert F. Kennedy Jr. These people all have massive, massive followings. 1 million people went to listen to Robert F. Kennedy Jr. We didn't even hear about it. But he puts Bill Gates on blast. He talks about the vaccine hoax. And again, right here, I'm going to read this headline. Pesticide hypocrisy. EU edges towards banning glyphosate after finding it safe, but clears organic copper sulfate after finding it a public health environmental concern, September 4th, 2020. I'm sorry, when, how on September 4th, after everything that's gone on with glyphosate, has it been found safe? It has been found to be a carcinogen toxic chemical. It has not been found safe. That is a blatant lie, but they have their own Facebook thing. Facebook doesn't censor them for misinformation, but they'll take the pedophile people, let them advertise it, and they'll take a child trafficking site to be aware, to make people aware of what's going on in child trafficking. And let's be clear about something, ladies and gentlemen. I don't know if you've noticed it or not. I don't know if you've noticed it or not. Since Ghislaine Maxwell has been arrested, and maybe she's talking, maybe she's helping out, maybe she's going to save her neck, I don't know. It's not my place to judge. But since she's been arrested, we have all kinds of child trafficking networks coming up. Let's back up for just a minute here. I want to bring something out. This is the Genetic Literacy Project, ladies and gentlemen. These people are science explainers, okay? They're not like Carrie Gillum, who is a investigative journalist and digs into something and gets the meat of something, presents facts. These people present opinions, quote unquote, viewpoints, our viewpoint. I want you to think about that for just a minute. Our viewpoint. It's an opinion. Whereas Carrie Gillum, when she writes something for U.S. Right to Know, it is fact-based article. Think about that. next time you go buy a box of Cheerios that is glyphosate saturated. Let's talk about speaking of facts, what's being hidden? What's being hidden, ladies and gentlemen? Coronavirus. You see that? Coronavirus. I don't know if you can read that date right there, ladies and gentlemen. February 19th, 2018. The bleeding eye forever sees. Prophecy isn't an exact science, ladies and gentlemen. No, it's not. But the coronavirus, where have cases been confirmed in Britain? Wait a minute. Whoa. February 19th, 2018? Wasn't that about a year and a half before we heard about the beer bug? Cut your tinfoil, make your hat. Things are going to get interesting now. What's this girl and this girl doing together? Do you know who that is? Look at that. They all tied to this guy right here. That girl right there is talking about the bug. She's on the commission. All these people here, Sean Hannity, Laura Ingraham, Donald Trump Jr., Rudy Giuliani, these journalists were bugged. And of course, all these people support Donald Trump, but all these people have been screaming hoax, hoax, hoax on the beer bug. Yovanovitch, what is she doing? And this right here, ladies and gentlemen, PrepFar. It's a strategic. If you want a copy of this, let me know. I have a copy. I have links in the description to all this stuff, ladies and gentlemen. United States President Emergency Plan for AIDS Relief, PrepFar, total planning level for Ukraine for the 2019 Country Operational Plan, COP219, is $30 million inclusive of all funding accounts applied. Again, these two people are tied to it. Man, I just... This gal right here, okay? For those of you who don't know who this gal is, she's the one that pushed 70 Somalians in Ilhan Omar's district in Minnesota. That is how Ilhan Omar got elected to Congress and is allowed to wear headgear because our traitor, neurotic Nancy, changed the rules. I'm going to read this here. February 27th, they started working separately for the first time in 15 years. That's when Bricks, that's her name, left a marathon meeting in Johannesburg of the President's Emergency Plan for AIDS Relief, or PrepFar. She's, ladies and gentlemen, I don't know how to, I'm just going to say it. We have a unique president right now. Many people don't like him. I happen to think, despite everything that's gone on, he's done a pretty decent job. Just my humble opinion. But I want you to think about something for just a minute. How many times has he said something and everybody, and we hear all this wah, 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 go on for months and months and months, and he's proven right. How many times has Donald Trump put somebody in front of something and exposed them? Once again, ladies and gentlemen, links are in the description that's going to talk about the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation. Modern RNA. This vaccine that Bill Gates wants to do with the coronavirus and look at that girl's face looking at Dr. Bricks. But this vaccine that they want to do with the coronavirus is actually going to change your DNA and your RNA in your system so they can track you. So they can track you. She's right in the middle of everything, ladies and gentlemen. She's right in the middle of everything. The big news this week has been Facebook getting ready to do more censoring. The last thing I'm going to close with here, QAnon has been attacked relentlessly this past week as being conspiracy. People are laughing, and I want to call someone out. I can't remember their name, Julie something. Somebody sent me a slide, and this girl said, "Oh, QAnon, a conspiracy theory." Oh, I'm sorry, QAnon is not a conspiracy theory or theorist. And they said, this is really funny. QAnon is really funny. I'm sorry. For those of you who are not familiar with QAnon, QAnon does not tell you what to think, does not tell you what to do, does not tell you anything. QAnon presents facts, sends you down a rabbit hole, makes you look up facts so you can educate yourself. Okay? Think about that for a minute. So you can educate yourself. It's kind of like Amazing Paula. She puts a bunch of facts together and says, hey, look, this is what I have found. Here's the links. Go read this stuff for yourself. Excuse me. That said, ladies and gentlemen, that's kind of what the Q does. The Q presents facts. The Q puts stuff out there. And all I can say is, if Q was not putting the finger on something, why would mainstream media be screaming up and down about a conspiracy theory? Why would mainstream media, and you can see in the press conferences, it's a tag team event when they start asking questions about Q. Food for thought, ladies and gentlemen. Q presents facts. You go look the facts up. Doesn't tell you, just you look the facts up and you come to your own conclusions about what is going on. That is how QAnon works. QAnon is not a movement. QAnon is not a conspiracy theory. There are a lot of people that follow QAnon, but it is not, in my humble opinion, a movement per se, like the media is making it out to be. Ladies and gentlemen, you can catch me on the Twitter. Oh, before I go, I'm going to close with this. You can catch me on Twitter and Parler at Alladay LLC, the World Wide Web, www.alladaymobilemedia.com. Great gardening tips over there and recipes of the week. We got the holiday season coming up. We'll be looking for family recipes for the holidays. But in closing, I'm going to close with this so you have something to think about. During the Nuremberg trials, Göring was asked a question. And this is in the history books. At least I was taught this when I was in school. How did you get all the Germans to do what you wanted them to do? And Göring replied, it doesn't have to be Germans. It doesn't have to be Nazis. It doesn't have to be communists. It can be anybody. It can be Americans. It can be Africans. It can be Chinese people. It can be democratic governments. All you have to do is scare the people enough into compliance. If you instill enough fear in the people, they will obediently comply with anything you want. Think Hunger Games, ladies and gentlemen. For Alladay Mobile Media, let's have a great day and let's all be safe out there, huh?